Hello, welcome back. Today I'd like to talk to you about mastery. So I'll start with talking about school. So my experience of school was that I did the bare minimum, got good grades, had a laugh with some friends, but I think it was good for having some basic principles, basic knowledge. But for me, the real learning started after school. Um, it took me several years to start deliberately trying to learn again. Um, but once I started finding things that I was interested in, that I wanted to learn, um, I my knowledge increased rapidly. Um, so I think if you're in the early stages, then it's just a case of like following what piques your interest. Like what do you get excited about, and forget what everyone else thinks, and you go with that to start with, and then that kind of branches off in all kinds of different directions, and you'll start to find key areas that you find interesting. So in the beginning, you kind of have this broad way of looking at things, um, but as you get on, you'll realize that there's more in the world that you could ever possibly learn. So then the key is to find a smaller number of things to focus on. So, like, which area will give you the most interest or the most value, or could teach you the most useful skills? So, because the the value in mastering something is like you potentially could learn more than anyone else in the world at that thing. You could become an expert in that one thing. But if you try to do that with too many areas at the same time, then you're probably going to be average with everything. So once you're more aware of where you want to go or what interests you, then it's time to start focusing on one, two, maybe three key areas, and then going into depth on those. If you know what direction you want to head in life, then I would probably focus on what are the key things for that. So everything has fundamentals. Once you find out what the fundamental things you need to know, need to do are for that area, for that subject, then you can build on that and slowly become an expert in that thing. So the process I'm working with, I've mentioned in previous videos, is like looking at 1%. So for example, if I want to improve at, say, writing, then I I'm aiming to see a 1% improvement, like from compared to the last time I wrote. And then, or it can be towards any worthy goal. So 1% towards that. I'm not actually calculating it. I'm not doing any maths here. It's more, did I move towards where I want to be today? And if I did, it's a good day. So start with the 1% idea. Particularly if it learning by yourself outside of school is something new to you, then I would start with that. And what you'll find is over time, as you study and then you try things out, you'll start to build confidence in yourself and self-esteem and self-belief through the repetitive action of studying and improving. So my current process is study first. So it could be YouTube videos, could be books, audiobooks, ebooks, podcasts, anything about the area I want to learn about. Learn something from it. So pick some lessons out of that, and then try to apply what I've learned to my real life. Then get feedback. So that could be I tried it, it worked, or I tried it, it didn't work. Or it could be I try something and then I ask people to tell me how it went. That only works if people are genuine when they give you the feedback and they want you to improve. So choose those people carefully. And then I reflect on how I think things went and what I can learn, whether it was successful or not. What did I learn from it? And then I repeat that process. So that process again was study, learn, implement, get feedback, reflect, and repeat. And I go through that cycle again and again. And then as I start to really understand one area, once I get to a deep level on one thing, then I can build on to the next thing. So I try to do everything step by step. Because again, if you try to master too many things at the same time, and I'm not saying I'm even close to mastering anything right now, but if you spread yourself across too many areas, then you're either going to suck at all of them, or you'll probably be limited to being average in all of them. It's possible to be a master in multiple areas, but often it's master in one area first, and then the next, and then the next. And it all compounds on itself. So as with other practices I've mentioned before, you do a little bit each day, and then that adds up. And by just trying to do a little bit each day, you don't put too much pressure on yourself. And then often you surprise yourself by how much you actually do, because you only plan to do a little bit. So I encourage everyone, try out that process. Find something you're interested in, or if you already know like what direction you want your life to take, then try out that process. Study, learn, implement, get feedback, reflect, repeat. And then the last thing I'll say about it is, once your knowledge is deeper on an area, it might be that in a year or so you come back to it. You might even read the same book, but now you have a deeper understanding that what's in that book, you now learn something different from the same thing. So I try not to think of, oh, I've read that book and then I never have to read it again. I will happily come back to a book if a theme keeps coming up and it kind of spirals on itself upwardly. So check it out, try it. Pick one thing you want to learn and then study it, learn it, implement it, get feedback, reflect, and repeat. And let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear how everything's going for you. And do you have any tips that have worked for you that you could share with others? Okay, thank you everyone, and have a fantastic day. Bye bye.